Couple more minutes to get up in the chat. What's going on? Anybody who's joining? Hope you can hear me all right. What's going on? What's going on, everybody? And today we're going to drop some gems. Hopefully y'all learn something good. I'm trying to be educational every session. All right. Give it another minute, then I'm going to get started. Hopefully anybody who misses this can watch it on the playback. Appreciate everybody who's been watching, keeping up with the channel. Feel free to subscribe so you can learn something new. Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay. All right, let's get this show on the road. Let's get this show on the road because I'm hungry. All right. So today's episode is going to be very brief. Hopefully y'all learned something today. Let's get through these things. The question of today is, should you try to build muscle fast or slowly? And the reason why I'm making this a question or a conversation rather is because a lot of times when we go in the gym, we don't really have a clue about what the end result should look like and how long it should take us to get to our end result. And I think when you don't know what your end result is, it's kind of hard to build a formula to get there. And so you got to think about, what's realistic, what's rational, what can actually, be a possibility and what makes sense. And a lot of times because we don't really know, we don't know what makes sense. So we just start shooting for the moon and, hopefully we'll land on the mountain. But in this particular situation, there may be some things that you're doing that are keeping you away from building that muscle like you need to. And when I say building muscle, it doesn't just turn into, this isn't just for like somebody who's a bodybuilder, somebody who's trying to pack on mass. You could be somebody who needs to have a muscle group that needs to catch up. You could be a woman who wants to add muscle but doesn't want to look like a man or whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a whole bunch of reasons why you should add muscle, and certain muscles need to be worked specific ways so that they can grow faster or slower than others, right? So just so that you can build your own proportions rather than, if you look one way, building that muscle and then you kind of just look like a big old muscular version of what that smaller version was. You might need to tailor and shape some things and have a smaller waist or bigger legs, but bigger calves or smaller, whatever. So it just depends on what you're trying to go for. But ultimately, the goal is you got to build muscle in that key area, right? And so let's talk about a couple of things, right? So the first thing is that generally it takes about 4 weeks to build 1 pound of muscle. Okay. And so when they say it takes about 4 weeks to build a pound of muscle, that doesn't mean like if you work your shoulders 4 times in a row, like, this Monday, the next Monday, the next Monday, next Monday, you're going to build a pound of muscle all in shoulders. It doesn't necessarily work like that. What you'll have to do is work everything consistently for, a month at a time. So, every day, so that when you're feeding that body, the muscle that does grow, it starts growing everywhere, but it doesn't necessarily pick the area that is going to grow harder. So for example, let's say you did the first week, you did your chest, shoulders, triceps, legs, abs, back, and biceps, and you did all 6 major muscle groups, whatever like that. And your second week you do the same thing, third week you do the same thing, fourth week you do the same thing. Your weight will go up, and that pound of muscle that you may have built based on you doing the right things and eating the right way and not missing any meals and stuff, it'll show, but it's not going to just be in one area. It's going to be all over and just kind of spread out. You know what I mean? So you're not going to really see it like that. That's why it takes more time than just, a week or so or 2 weeks to think that you're going to see results, because it doesn't work like that. And then the results that do come, the muscle might be all in your hamstrings and in your rear delts, you know what I mean? And not in the areas that you wanted it to be. And you've been thinking that, I work my chest harder, so it's going to grow there. And that's not necessarily how it works. Just because you work that area more, than another area doesn't mean that naturally it's going to grow a lot faster. Sometimes your genetics play a role in it. And so if your body wants to grow in that area, that's just what it's going to do, right? If it doesn't, then that area might lag, but you still can work it. Now, the second thing is to build that mass and to put that size on. Let's talk about 2 things. Okay. Now, it's great that you're going to the gym. It's great that you're exercising. It's great that you're working out. But keep this in mind, all right, when you're working out. Lifting heavy and doing compound lifts is a lot more, like compound movements is a lot more appropriate than doing like detail work, right? Because when you're just doing detail work, like let's say we're in the gym and we're working biceps and we're trying to get, or work our brachialis, like the outside of our bicep head, or we're doing stuff because we want our lower, decline benching for our lower pecs because we want them to catch up or we want certain things to grow. A lot of times, guys are going there and they'll say, okay, I need to do this and that and this and that. And a lot of times you're not ready to be doing detailed work yet. You still got a lot more stuff to do first before you start jumping into detail. Detail is for when, it's like getting your car painted. You know what I mean? You get your car painted, and then after it's painted, it's buffed, then it's washed, and then, you do the detailing at the end. But the car got to get painted first. Like you got to build that car first, and then you paint it, and then you detail it. And so what you guys are doing is y'all are detailing bad cars. You know what I mean? And so when you detailing bad cars, like, well, what's the point? You still got a bad motor. Still need to fix this. Like, so don't think that by it's almost like you do a dude who has a messed up car. He got a hoopty, but he putting rims on it, and he's got hubcaps, and he got all the lights and stickers and flashing. And it's like, well, the car, it does all of this stuff. You got a nice system in there, but the car's still trash. You know what I mean? Like your outside stuff is worth more than the cars. And what I mean by the example is make sure that you're doing the big stuff and then getting into the detail stuff. So if you're doing, like let's say for your back, if you're doing, deadlifts and bent over rows and stuff like that, or seated rows and stuff, those are big moves. If you're over there doing, like arm cables for your lats or something like that, like with a lightweight, and you're doing reps 20s and 30s and trying to burn out and stuff like that's you may be able to get to your goal at some point, but that's going to take you so much longer because that's mainly for specific areas, specific detail to build an area that you mainly can't touch by doing a heavy compound movement. You want to get those things like, like the single arm stuff and the more detailed ISO movements, save that stuff for later, not right now while you're still trying to put that size on, because it doesn't make a difference. You know what I mean? But with the exception of something like rear delts, like that's a small exercise, but it's still necessary. So make sure you're doing that. That counts as a big shoulder exercise too. So little things, but some stuff is too detailed to be appropriate for when you're trying to pack on that size, right? Now the next thing is you have to also eat appropriately to make that muscle grow. So like I was telling you before, you can build that pound of muscle, but where you eating your meals? Where you skipping meals? Where you doing everything you're supposed to do? And or are you doing too much cardio? And if you're skipping meals and you're not doing what you're supposed to do, then it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like you can be in there all day long lifting heavy and doing all the right things, but it won't matter. And listen, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I'm not Mr. Perfect when it comes to working out. Like there's been plenty of times where I worked out and then left out again and didn't eat on time, or didn't eat breakfast that day, or skip or whatever. And the thing is, like, I know that my lifestyle is going to account for those things. So I'm not going to stress out about, oh my gosh, I haven't gained weight this fast. So I was 190 yesterday and I lost 3 pounds today. And I'm not going to stress like that because I know I got a real life, And so when you have those things, keep that in mind. But I know that if I was serious about it, you can't miss nothing. You got to stay on it. You know what I mean? And when you stay on it like that, that's what will get you to your goal. Then you might be able to take your foot off the gas. But in the beginning, though, you can't take your foot off the gas because you gotta really beat that muscle down and keep on beating it down so that it knows that when you feeding it, it's supposed to grow. But sometimes when y'all are doing all that light detail work, it's not really going towards recovering that muscle. It's not really getting broken down like that, right? I would say, it's my next step. This is what I would say. I would say go hard for 6 months, right? If you can do 6 months of just, eating dirt and just going hard and not worrying about what it is that you look like, worrying about like detail exercises. You're not worrying about, specific stuff, but you're hitting everything that needs to be hit. You're working your hamstrings, you're working your calves, working your quads, you're working your shoulders, every area, every, part of your shoulder, all 3 parts. You're working your chest, you're working your abs, you're working your back for the most part. You don't have to do too much detail on your back, but if you're just working your back, like that's great. You know what I mean? Like all those, you're working your triceps. Those things are good. Do those things hard, and then make sure that you're only doing exercises that get you that get you sore. And when you start finding those exercises that get you sore, as soon as you're not sore on that muscle group, hit it again. and hit it again and hit it again. You know what I'm saying? If it takes you 7 days to recover from being sore, as soon as that 7th day is up, you need to be in there working that muscle group again and do the things that get it sore. If you know it's not getting you sore, maybe that's a detail exercise that you had to do 20 reps, 30 reps, 100, like a lot of volume on. You know what I mean? Now, if once you start getting fly with the way you do stuff, what you'll do is you'll add your heavy weight and your high reps together, and then that'll work out. You know what I mean? Like that's how you're supposed to do it. But right now, though, we're talking about putting on that size, and then we'll tailor it up. You know what I mean? But don't worry about tailoring before you got the big gear first. Okay. Now, if it's broken and you know something's going on with yourself, if it's broken, fix it. Make the adjustments. It takes time. You got to make the adjustments, but you got to be conscious of what you're doing in there. And it's crazy, man. Like I was out of the gym for so long, and now that I go back into the gym, and I see people who are working a certain way, I don't take umbrage in people's styles of exercise. But the thing that I do, the thing that does kind of like grind my gears is that, if you're in there and something more serious than you got to make sure that you're really, because like lingering around one piece of equipment for 30 minutes, lingering around another piece of equipment for another 30 minutes, and like that doesn't really get anything done with your body. And so really, like, yeah, you holding up everybody else's work, but you're not doing anything for yourself either. You know what I'm saying? Like when you sitting there, you check your phone. Like I check my phone too, but lately what I've been doing is on an album, I've been listening to that new Kodak Black, put that on, start working, and try to get out of there by the time the album is done, or get out of there by the time certain songs are done. That way I know that, okay, I'm gonna spend this much time on this one, and I'll use my song as a gauge to say, okay, I've been on this exercise for too long. Let's go ahead and move on to something else. You know what I mean? Because what'll happen is you'll start getting comfortable doing that stuff, and you'll start getting on your phone, you'll start checking messages or whatever and chit-chatting. And when you're doing that, that muscle is getting a chance to recover. And as it's getting a chance to recover, now you got to work it from scratch again every time. So if you stay on top of that muscle, let's say you work out, you do your first set, you don't take a long break, like you take a break to get a chance to catch your breath so that you can get back in there, not a break to set yourself up to be like, you know what, I'm good now. Let me go back in there now that I feel fresh again. You don't want to keep feeling fresh. You want to feel worn out for your next set and beat down for your next set and really hurt for your last set. You see what I'm saying? Not like, oh, this is great. I can do this another time. Like, let's go. I can do 5 more sets of these. This is cool. You don't want to be like that. Okay. So make sure that you're really conscious of being focused on what it is that you're trying to get done. And a lot of y'all just keep in mind that the goal is to have effective workouts. Like you want to make sure that when you were done in there that day, that you got all your work done and that you feel like you did everything you're supposed to do. When you go to work, or when you go to school, you did all your work for the day. Same thing in the gym. Like you want to know you did all your work for the day and you don't want to miss anything. If it feels like you were in there and you did everything you need to do and it's still like, I could do some more, maybe you don't have to do some more. Maybe, you really did everything you need to do. But if you didn't, you know what I'm saying? Then, hey, listen, it's time to make sure that next time you got everything going on in your life so that when you can go into the gym, you can zone out, tunnel vision, and do the work that you need to do without having to, deviate or take breaks or give it, only like a 60% effort when you're in the gym. If you think when you're in the gym and when you leave out of there, if you could give yourself a grade and you say, okay, well, did I do my best? Or if I had to give myself an A to a D, how did I do today? Make sure that you're giving yourself at least a B plus. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing if you're getting C's? That means you was in there playing. And if you got a D in there, you was really in there playing. And if it was F, you might as well stay home. You know what I mean? And even if it's like an A minus, like you probably could have did better. Like for me, like today, I'll give you an example. Today I went to the gym, and right now what my goal is, I told you I'm lifting heavy because I want to put this mass back on. So I'm lifting, I'm eating. I started eating my muffins again. I started packing my muffins with my collagen. Like really, I'm back on my stuff, my little tips and tricks that I do for myself that make me grow. I'm putting it all together. Right now, when I was in the gym today, I did only one exercise for, what did I do? I did my shoulders first. I did 2 exercises on my shoulders. I did rear delts and I did lateral raises. And I think I did 4 sets of 20 lateral raises with like 35s. Rear delts, same thing, 4 sets of 20, bend over, rear delt flies. when I think 30 pounds, something like that. And I did 4 sets of 20 again. And so once I did that for my shoulders, I was done. I said, okay, cool. I don't need to do another shoulder exercise. I need some water or something. So after my shoulders were done, then I went and moved on to triceps. Triceps, I did dips, and I supersetted it with overhead tricep presses, right? So body weight dips, overhead tricep press. That's 1 set. That was my work. And I think I was using like 55 pounds for the overhead tricep presses, right? So nothing too crazy, but enough. And I would do 15 dips, 15 tricep presses. So that's my set. Now, even though I did all that volume, I'm still using heavy weight. And this is all I'm doing in there. So I'm not going to be in the gym for no 5 hours. Like, these are my triceps. You know what I'm saying? Like, I did 2 big workouts for them, and I made sure I stayed on them. I stayed on them so that they didn't get a chance to recover, and then I, take a break, and then, okay, I'm feeling good, and I can get back to it. No, I stayed in them. You know what I'm saying? And as soon as I was done, I did 4 sets of those. Then I moved on to I did a light chest thing today, and I just did the what's it called, the pec deck fly machine. So 4 sets of pec deck flies. I try to sit a little bit lower because I want to work my incline. My mid chest is okay, my decline is okay, but I really like that chest palette that I tell y'all about. Like, I like my shoulders to lean into my chest, so it looks like I got on some type of armor or something. You know what I mean? And so I did my incline upper chest, and after that, I was out of there. I came home, I ate some leftovers from yesterday, some shrimp and rice and broccoli from last night, and that was my workout for the day. That was my meal. So I know that I would give myself a grade of at least a A- or a B because of the intensity that I did in the workout, the fact that I didn't take too long of breaks, the fact that I didn't sit there and play, I wasn't on my phone, and I didn't even need that much time in the gym because I was actually on top of my stuff. Days when I'm in there talking and chopping it up, like, it might take me longer to get the work done. But if I'm not talking and playing and stuff like that, why do I need that much time in there? You know what I mean? And if you know that you could do the same workout in less time, then you probably was in there playing. I'm gonna say that again. If you know that you could do your same workout in less time, you was in there playing. You know what I mean? You was in there playing. So keep that in mind. Like, are you in there playing or are you working hard? You feel me? So that's all I got for today. Let me go through some of these questions. Gun 3 Adam, you said, what's up? Would you ever consider competing natural bodybuilding again? Absolutely. I would compete natural bodybuilding again. I'm looking at the the only thing is that when you compete, and I would probably have to put a whole new stream together for this, but I have a lot of issues with bodybuilding organizations and the way they're set up. I don't like that everybody's not synchronized. You know what I mean? I think there should be like one system, like one thing to follow, like a set of rules for everybody to go by, for everybody to go with. And I think that like judges, before you get on stage, they should know which category you should be in. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you might get up there and compete and you're like, okay, I'm gonna be a bodybuilder in this class. I got to do men's physique too, and I got to do classic physique just to see where the judges will place me. Sometimes, like, I think that these judges probably need to look at you and say, is it worth it for you to even compete? You know what I mean? If you're not supposed to be up there, then probably shouldn't be up there. So for me, I know, but the thing is, like, with natural shows, sometimes they don't get really that recognized. And so me doing all that work just to be up there with some dudes who don't look like they even work out anyway, it's like I graduated valedictorian of like elementary school. You know what I'm saying? So like, what's the point? I'm doing all this work for nothing just to be up there with people who, I don't really look better. I mean, I look better than, like, unanimously. But if I do a NPC show, what happens is then I get a chance to gauge myself against the dudes who are using stuff, but it's a slim chance I'm gonna actually win. So it kind of is like, do I want to go over there and ball out and win, or do I want to come over here and like lose but feel good? So I got to figure that out. You know what I mean? So once I figure that out, I'll be all right. All right. YSSO4, what's up? A female, what's your workout split schedule? Trying to lose fat and gain muscle. What's the best way? Okay, so workout split schedule, I would say, if like your upper body is composed of a lot of different parts, right? So you got your chest, shoulders, triceps, back, biceps. That's 5 different things, right? And then you got your legs and abs, right? So if you can do your legs and abs on one day, and then do your chest, shoulders, and triceps on one day, or 2 of the 3, or maybe like your back and your triceps and biceps, and your chest and your shoulders, or something like that, and just do 3 days, and you make sure that you do your fasted cardio in the morning, you'll have effectiveness. And you may, like if you're a woman, you probably want to do a leg day, but then have a separate glute day as well. So for you, it might be a little bit tougher. You probably need to do 4 days. Or what you'll do is on the days that instead of doing heavy or wild upper body stuff, like, you know, chest, shoulders, triceps, find exercises that are just compound. That way you can have maybe just one upper body day that you did everything that got you sore all over. And then you have a leg day and an ab day, and then a specific glute day and like inner thigh and hips and stuff like that. Stuff that you wouldn't normally work on the leg day. So for women, you might want to do a little, you got to tweak it a little bit. Guys aren't trying to have a big butt, you know, but that's a big muscle. And so because of that muscle, like you're going to need it small and have those wider hips. Look, but then your upper body, you don't need to really add too much heavy stuff to. So am I reconnecting? I think my thing might be dying. I don't know. My internet might be tripping. Y'all can't hear me. All right. 3 to 5 minutes rest time is okay. I think that's way too long. 3 to 5 minutes gave your muscles a chance to say, okay, you know, that's cool. What's next? You don't want to get back into the next exercise while you're still hurting from the previous one. You want to wait till it's kind of like, okay, I can do it again. But if you know you can do it again, what you waiting for? That's the thing, because like, you know, resting isn't really gonna, all it's gonna do is make you stronger for your next exercise. You don't want to not rest in between, but you also want to give yourself enough credit to say, okay, I took a second, I rested for a little bit, and now I can go back in there when I'm just a little bit weaker, and I'm gonna still try to be strong. Because normally when you rest, you know, the first one was a like a warm up, but then the second time you get new weights, go up a little bit heavier, and now you got to be stronger, but you already worked out previously on that same muscle group, and so it's really technically, you know, torn down. The muscles are torn down, and you got to use a heavier weight on your second set. So when you're doing that, consistently try to do that. You know what I mean? So that you're getting the most effectiveness. You don't want to, you know, tear down your muscles and then they're torn down. And then as you're waiting, they're recovering, and now you got to re-tear them down again. And now you wait, and they're recovering, and you got to reach. Like you want to tear them things down, tear them down. So now it's like, shoot, like I can't do this anymore. It's time to go. And then you might not need to be in there so long. So keep that in mind. Okay. All right. You said your muscles are always sore. Okay. Yeah. For 150 to 170, so like 20 pounds. How old are you though? Like it depends on how old you are, but I would say like a solid 6 months. Like you could put on 20 pounds in like 6 months to a year, you know. So keep that in mind. And hey, listen, I hope you guys learned something. You know, I think my internet connection is getting crazy right now, so I hope you guys learned something. Feel free to subscribe to my channel. Listen, if y'all got any questions, go back and watch this video again, because hopefully some of the stuff I said in here was very important to you and you can actually use it. All right. And I will see you guys in the next video. Subscribe to my channel, and thanks for watching.